Well, hello everyone. Just wanted to make a little quick video here on a couple of pieces of equipment that was recently sent in. And the reason why I'm doing this is that it's a bit of a rare piece of equipment. A lot of you probably have never seen the piece on the left before, because there really wasn't that many of them. And what we have here is a tranquilizer Mark 3A, and this was made by Transil Corporation. Now, from what I remember in the past, Transil Corporation made a lot of stuff for CB radio, like watt meters. Now, there was some 11-meter amplifiers that were built that have the name Transil on them, but I'm not sure if they are the same part or the same company as the company that made this. Now, this piece was sent in from a viewer that wanted me to restore it and get it back operational. And basically what it is a transmitter analyzer, and you can see it has a watt meter and an oscilloscope tube on the left hand side. Well, the scope is made to look at the RF carrier and modulation of a single sideband or AM signal. As far as I know, as far as I can remember, I've never seen Transil make anything for ham radio. But if we look down here in the middle, you can see here this band switch goes from 11 meters all the way up to 160 meters. Now, the band switch does not affect the watt meter. What it affects is the input of the oscilloscope. And you also see it has tone out, tone 1, tone 1 plus tone 2, and tone 1 should be probably a 1000 kilohertz tone, and tone 2 is a mix of two tones for single sideband. And you see the output beside it, and beside that is a output for headphones to monitor your signal so you can listen to it. The watt meter also has a peak and average power settings. There's a tone and receive side that shows up on the scope, and above this is cal and headphone volume, and above that is the selector for power levels for the watt meter. Here we have our focus and our intensity, our off on switch, vertical position and vertical size. And if we take a look at the back side, you can see over here we have the antenna connector, the radio connector, receive monitor input. There's a fuse, and this is where the power cord should be coming out of. Now, if we look over here on the far left, you can see that there is two cutouts in the chassis, and they're just punched around. That's where another board goes. Right here it's a frequency counter input, and it's not populated, so it does not have the frequency counter unit in it. For it to have a frequency counter unit, it would be the Mark 3A-C for counter. But it was very interesting when this came in, that the first thing I noticed after picking it up and feeling how light it was, I did not see a AC cord attached, and I figured, well, maybe someone cut it off, so it cannot be used until after it's rebuilt. I've got it up on the side, and I removed the screws holding the case on, so we'll go ahead and pour the case on. We'll take a look inside of it. Okay, I got the case off, and we'll swing it around. And first thing we'll notice is this Hitachi 3RP1A CRT, and this is the tube that is used to show the modulation waveform. And when I got this opened up, the first thing that I've noticed is that all the brackets that hold the tube in place are loose. So somebody has took the tube out. Also, if we look here, we see that the plug on the back is not already pressed in. So, you know, that kind of makes me think maybe that it's a good possibility this CRT could be bad. We don't know. And I've checked on eBay, and this particular model tube is running about $130 just for the tube itself. If we get down here and look, we can see that, you know, no power cord coming in. And also, there are the two wires that are connected to the fuse holder has been clipped off. Up here on the power switch, we'll also see that the wiring to the power switch has been cut. Turn the unit around, we see the horizontal sweep amplifier and power supply board mounted here in the middle. And right down in here is our two-tone board. And this is our input where our coupling goes into to go to the watt meter and to the scope circuit. But if you notice right here in the floor, there are 3 holes here. The transformer is missing, and as you can see here, this is the wiring for the transformer has been cut off. We've got 2 green terminals. Back here should be the 6.3 volt filament. We have some blue terminals, some red terminals, and some yellow terminals. Now, looking on the back of this board, we know green is a 6.3, and I can also check through and find out that it goes to the filament of the CRT. The yellow is marked 12 volts on the back of the board, and the blue is marked 285 volts on the back of the board. So the only thing we don't know is what is the voltage, or the AC voltage input on the 2 red wires. I know looking at the circuit, I can see up here minus 1600 volts. Well, we know that this transformer is not going to be a 1600 volt transformer. So I text a friend of mine that also has one of these, and he took some voltage measurements, and it's a little over 500 volts on this 2 red wires. So in here is a tripler circuit to power the board. And the reason why I had to contact him, because I know he had one, he posted it a little over a year ago on my website, is that there is no known schematic for this piece of equipment. There is, however, a manual, and inside the manual it has a block diagram. See, they're showing waveforms for AM and signal sideband. But if we get here and look, we can see the block diagrams. And down here on the corner of it is our power supply, and it's showing 6.3 minus 1600 plus 300 plus 12 plus 8. Well, looking at the board, it gets the 8 volts off the 12 volts, so that's why you don't see a 8 volt tap for the transformer. So all that, and plus, you know, it shows 1600 volts, so we know the transformer is not going to be 1600 volts to start with. But like I say, there is no schematic that I can find on this unit. So I'm tasked with now trying to find a transformer, and we got pretty, you know, much room in here to put about any size transformer, even if we have to put 2. I've checked around. I've got some 500 volt transformers that has filament and high voltage, but it does not have the 12 volt. And then we have the 285 volt, which that's going to, you know, by the time filtered and rectified, it's going to be up to 300 volts. So trying to find the transformer with the right combinations is probably going to be a little tough. The only kicker is that after we do all this and get the circuit back up and running, as you can see, we got several filter caps here that's going to have to be replaced. A couple of electrolytics here on the board. There's one big one down in here and one here. And then on the other board there's a couple of just small value electrolytics. No problem. These are 4-section cans here, and they had 450 volts. So if anybody that has seen one of these happen to have a schematic for it, we would like to have a copy of it. I also got the numbers off the original transformer from another viewer. So you know, I've searched the internet, have not found anything that's close to it. So we're going to have to be looking around and see if we find a transformer or 2 transformers so we can get this thing up. Again, the only bad thing is, you know, we go through all this time to do this and then find out that the CRT is no good. Like I say, we can get a CRT off of eBay, but you know, it's roughly 130 bucks. Is the unit worth putting a transformer and a CRT in? Well, that's questionable. It depends on how much of a vintage collector you are. And I would say with the rarity of this piece of equipment, it would be worth it to me. And I'm sure that the owner, which is also a viewer, is going to want to do whatever he can to get this thing up and running. And back here in the back, I'll also show you that this is where the frequency counter board would mount in the Mark 3A-C. The Mark A's did not have the frequency counter, but they used the exact same chassis for the Mark 3A and the Mark 3AC. Okay, I did not mention, but over on this side you see another board. This is our vertical amplifier board. Now you notice this will have vertical gain control, but it does not have a time-based board in it, and that's because it's only used for monitoring RF modulated signals. So there you go. If you've never seen a tranquilizer Mark 3A, that is what they look like. And again, I know Transol made CB watt meters and a few accessories. I never knew that they would made anything that was set up for ham radio. If any of y'all know any stories behind any of this, I don't know, maybe Mike has seen them or knows something about them. You know, Mike over at Mike's Radio Repair. Guy seems to have one of everything anything that was ever made. So yeah, that's a look at it. I'd like to hear your comments and ideas and thoughts on this piece of equipment. And here's another piece of rare equipment that you don't never see much of. I've had seen the Accurate Instruments company's equipment before, but this is a model 152 vacuum tube voltmeter, and she is old and a bit crusty. This was also sent in from the same guy that sent the Tektronix 465 scope, and it was basically sent in from parts. Well, we kind of talked back and forth a bit, and I told him I was going to take on restoring this piece of equipment. As you can see, the faceplate, the glass is heavily yellowed, but it looks like the printing on the meter is in excellent shape. The meter movement is in good shape, no problems at all. But as you can see, the aluminum plate here is in very, very rough condition. I mean, it looks real bad. You know, I'm looking at it, and the function switch seems to work fine, no problems at all. The range switch seems to be okay, but the two potentiometers, well, that one there is turning now. This one, it just moves a little bit, so that tells me, you know, they are heavily corroded. Okay, the two banana jacks look okay. They have a RCA jack in the center instead of that screw-on mic connector. But, you know, we look at the handle, and we can see it has Accurate written on it. Turn around to the back side here. It has a fairly decent power cord on it. You know, no problems at all. It looks to be in pretty good shape. It's not hardened or cracking. But we'll go ahead and pop the back off this thing and have a look inside. Well, I got the back off, and when we look inside, we can see that it is in fairly decent shape inside. You know, a little corrosion on the traces, and what it is, these traces have been soldered over, and this was from the factory at the time, but you know, the solder's got a little corrosion on it. Calibration parts seem to be in good shape. This resistor here is a bit swollen in the center. And you can see it's been etched a vacuum tube voltmeter. And if we look here into the bottom of it, we can see the controls and, you know, the wafer switches. Looks to be in pretty good shape. And you can see these two potentiometers here that would have to be replaced. We can see the big old 4,000 camera on it right there. I think that's a 4 microfarad capacitor in there. There's a couple of other paper and wax capacitors inside, but even the battery holder is in excellent condition. So, you know, your question would be, you know, where your power AC comes in. And the question would be, is this a meter of this vintage and condition worth a restoration? Actually, no. It would not be. I mean, there's a lot of work to do to this thing to get it back up and going. But I am going to do a full restoration, cosmetic and electrically. And what I'll be doing is adding this repair to the troubleshooting and tech tips video series. And we'll go as far as designing, printing, and making a new faceplate for it, and taking care of the cosmetics on the handle, and getting it all back looking like new again. And the reason why I'm doing this is just that people can see how to do something like this. I mean, if this was a $500 or $600 piece of equipment in this shape that was vintage and it belonged to your great-grandfather, you know, you may want to restore it back to its original condition. So you know, that just show you how I would go about, and my thought process on rebuilding something of this nature. So we'll completely in a future video strip this thing completely down and go through it. And since, you know, all the parts are here, the tubes were sent in a bag with you know, sealed up and wrapped so they wouldn't be broken. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun little restoration. Shouldn't be too hard at all. Now, I have not been able to find a schematic or manual on the Accurate Instruments Model 152 without having to purchase it off the internet. But if you have one of these and you need a manual, if you'll get the Model 77 vacuum tube voltmeter, and that was made by Superior Instruments, it's basically the same meter. The schematic will be close enough to get the job done on restoring or repairing one of these. So there you go, guys. Two more old rare pieces of equipment you don't see every day. And you know, we'll get these things up and going. Like I said, I'll do the vacuum tube voltmeter in the troubleshooting tech tips series, just to show the thought process on going through and restoring something that may be of value. That should be fairly simple to do. You know, the biggest thing is going to be refabricating that bottom panel. We'll use a new piece of aluminum, because that one is a bit pitted and corroded. And then we'll have to get the a decal made and put on the front of it to take, you know, place over the old one. So it should be a fun restoration. Now, as most of you know, my channel is directed to new people that's getting into the hobby, because my thought is to, you know, try to keep this hobby of vintage restoration and electronic skills and stuff going on, and, you know, well into the future after most of us is gone on. Because you know, I will say the part of what I do is a bit of a dying hobby. It's not as many people doing this today as it used to be. You know, we was talking the other day, and there's one TV shop in this big town that we live in, and they only service what they sell. They do not service any other brands. And used to, every couple of blocks there used to be a TV shop. There used to be several electronic stores here, and there's not even an electronic store within 200 miles of here now. So everything that I purchase, you know, and buy parts or whatever is off the internet. So, you know, them days are long gone here. I read and see a lot of people say that, you know, they have a Friars or something close by where they can walk in and pick up what they want, but, you know, we don't have that opportunity here. And with that, I'd like to thank all of you guys for joining in and watching these videos. You know, y'all are the ones that help keep this channel going. I also want to thank those that have donated and my Patreon members that has donated in the past. So, you know, it's a big help. And, you know, helps keep parts coming in to work on this whole type of stuff. So with that, guys, you know, leave your comments down below. Love hearing from y'all. Love hearing what y'all have to say. It's taken me a bit longer now to answer comments from what it used to be. But, you know, we seem to get so many now, and I get so many emails. There's just no way to, you know, answer every email that's coming in. You know, several thousand a week. It's just unreal. So if I don't, you know, if you email me, if I don't contact you back, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just that a lot of times, by the time that I get a chance to go through emails, there's already several thousand more has come in. So it's really hard to keep up with it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and be looking for some more videos to come. My goal is to try to at least get one video out a week. It's real tough the way things are going now. Right now it seems like I've only been getting one a month, and you know, that kind of hurts the whole thought process of doing YouTube videos. But you know, real life happens, so that's how it goes. Anyway, we'll catch you in the next video.